Welcome, everyone, to vpod.ai. I'm your host, Mike, and I'm joined today by our guest expert, Susan.
Hi, Mike. It's really great to be here.
You can sponsor this podcast for just $25. Your message will be featured across major platforms like Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Spotify, and more. If you're interested, visit vpod.ai to get started today.
Yeah, that's a pretty amazing deal, honestly.
It really is. So to kick things off today, I want you to imagine this. You're sitting in your living room, drinking your morning coffee, just logging into your work email.
Sounds pretty nice, actually.
Right. You feel perfectly safe. I mean, it's your house, it's your couch, your own network.
You're totally secure.
But because your kid's cheap internet-connected teddy bear is on that exact same home Wi-Fi,
Oh, no, I see where this is going.
yeah, a hacker thousands of miles away is currently bridging over to your laptop, just silently downloading your company's entire client database.
And you wouldn't even know it was happening.
Exactly. And the thing is, the scenario I just described, it's not science fiction. It is the absolute reality of the radically changed landscape of cybersecurity right now.
It really is. The shift to remote and hybrid work has just flipped everything upside down.
It has. For decades, there was a very specific set of rules for corporate security, right?
Yeah.
But for you listening right now, whether you are an employee at your kitchen table, a manager of a distributed team, or a business owner, those old rules, they simply don't apply anymore.
No, they're completely obsolete.
So today, our mission is to unpack exactly how individuals and businesses can actually protect themselves in a fully distributed world.
Which is so needed because the way we work has transformed so rapidly. The security architecture of most organizations is just desperately trying to catch up.
They're lagging behind.
Oh, completely. We're looking at a totally different paradigm now, and it requires a total reset in how we think about keeping data safe.
So to understand where we are, I feel like we really have to look at where we came from, right?
Right, the old model.
Exactly. Think about the traditional office security model, like a medieval castle. You had the moat, the fixed stone walls, the drawbridge.
The physical corporate firewall.
Right. And everything inside that castle was inherently trusted. It was considered safe. But today, that castle is basically empty.
Completely empty.
Yeah. Every employee is a nomad now.
Yeah.
And you are out there carrying the crown jewels in your backpack across the wilderness, just connecting from coffee shops, living rooms, airport lounges.
Which, completely invalidates the old defensive strategy. You don't have those thick stone walls protecting you anymore.
You just have the zipper on your backpack.
Exactly. You're relying on a zipper. Businesses are suddenly dealing with this massively distributed environment.
So it's not about defending a single fortress anymore.
No, not at all. It's about safeguarding every individual nomad and the specific gear they're carrying. Security has entirely shifted from that physical office network to user identity and device health.
But I have to ask, and I was wondering this while looking at the material, is the threat landscape actually a new problem? Or are criminals just, casting a wider net because everyone's sitting at home on their own vulnerable Wi-Fi?
Well, it's actually a combination of both.
Really?
Yeah. The vulnerabilities are absolutely widespread because, like you said, unsecured home networks provide this massive target area.
Right.
But the tools the attackers are using have evolved dramatically, too. We really have to dispel this Hollywood image of a hacker in a dark hoodie manually typing code to target your specific company.
Right. It's not some guy intensely staring at green code on a monitor.
Not at all. Threat actors today use automated tools. They just constantly, relentlessly scan the entire internet.
Wow.
Yeah, they're pinging millions of IP addresses a minute just looking for a single open port or a weak remote connection.
It's like digital sentries, just endlessly testing the doorknobs on every house in the neighborhood until one finally turns.
That is the perfect analogy. And when that doorknob turns, the barrier to entry for the criminals has just plummeted. We are seeing a massive rise in ransomware-as-a-service now.
Wait, ransomware-as-a-service? Like a subscription?
Pretty much. You no longer need to be a sophisticated programmer to execute a devastating cyber attack.
Oh, wow.
Unskilled criminals can basically just rent complex, malicious software from a digital syndicate, point it at a target, and run campaigns.
So the developers just take a cut of the ransom.
Exactly. It's literally a franchise model for extortion.
That is terrifying. And then you inject artificial intelligence into that franchise model.
Oh, AI changes the game completely.
Because, the phishing emails that used to be full of obvious spelling mistakes and weird grammar, We all know those ones.
Yeah.
AI writes them flawlessly now.
Yep, it can match the exact tone of your CEO.
Right. And the research even highlights this rise in what they call phishing voice-based fraud.
Which is incredibly hard to detect.
Yeah, criminals are using deepfake tools to clone voices. So when the phone rings, it sounds exactly like your boss or your vendor urgently asking you to process an invoice. It just slips right past our usual human checks.
Which, brings us right back to the core problem of the nomad.
Right.
If we don't have the castle walls anymore and we can't even trust the voice on the phone, the very first line of defense is ensuring the person trying to access the data is actually who they claim to be.
So proving your identity.
Yes.
Yeah.
Verifying identity is the new perimeter. And because of this, multi-factor authentication, or MFA, is the absolute non-negotiable standard.
It's a must-have.
Oh, 100%. If a system doesn't have MFA, it is fundamentally insecure, period.
Okay, but here's where the guidance seems to have flipped recently.
How so?
Well, for the longest time, we were told that getting a text message with a 6-digit code, SMS authentication, that was the gold standard of MFA.
Right, everyone used it.
But looking at the current data, SMS is heavily losing favor.
Yeah.
It seems crazy that a text message defense could be ruined so easily.
I know, it sounds super secure, but it all comes down to a social engineering vulnerability called SIM swapping.
Okay, break that down for me.
So a hacker gathers some basic personal info about you, maybe from public databases or previous breaches, right?
Right.
Then they call your mobile phone provider, pretend to be you, and claim they lost their phone.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. They convince the telecom customer service rep to transfer your phone number to a new SIM card that the hacker physically controls.
So they basically sweet talk the phone company into handing over your digital identity?
Exactly. And the moment that happens, your phone suddenly loses cellular service.
Because it goes dead.
Just completely dead. And every single one of those secure 6-digit SMS codes is suddenly being routed directly to the attacker's phone.
Wow.
Yeah. They have your passwords, and now they have your authentication codes. They just walk right through the front door.
Which is why the industry is moving toward time-based one-time password apps.
Yeah.
Right? Like Google or Microsoft Authenticator.
Yes, exactly.
Because those apps are mathematically tied to the physical device in your hand, not the easily hijacked phone number.
Precisely. And even better are number matching notifications.
How do those work?
So the computer screen shows you a 2-digit number, and you have to manually type that specific number into your phone app to approve the login.
Oh, so you can't just blindly click approve.
Right. It completely blocks attackers from just spamming you with approval requests in the middle of the night until you accidentally click yes out of annoyance.
That's smart.
And for really high-value accounts, FIDO2 hardware keys are the actual gold standard right now.
Those are the physical USB keys, right?
Yeah, it's a little key on your keychain. You have to physically touch it to log in. No physical touch, no access.
I imagine enterprise password managers play a massive role here, too.
Oh, absolutely.
Because, even with MFA, if you're using the same password for your highly secure corporate email that you use for, like, your local pizza delivery app.
Which so many people do.
Right, and then that pizza place gets hacked, the attackers are just going to try that password everywhere.
Password reuse is a massive vulnerability. But, the most sophisticated part of identity management right now is the deployment of conditional access policies.
Conditional access, what does that mean?
So systems like Azure AD, they don't just blindly ask for your password and MFA code anymore. They actually analyze the context of your login in real time.
Okay, so looking at the whole picture.
Yeah, they check 2 things simultaneously: your physical location and the health of your device.
Meaning, if I normally log in from London on a company-issued laptop, and suddenly there's a login attempt using my correct password from a totally unrecognized device halfway across the world.
The system spots the anomaly immediately.
It flags it.
Yeah, it's often called impossible travel. The system knows you couldn't have flown from London to another continent in 10 minutes.
Right, unless you have a teleporter.
Exactly. So it doesn't even bother asking for the MFA code. It just blocks the attempt outright.
That is brilliant. Okay, so we've authenticated the human. We know the person typing is actually who they say they are.
Yes.
But what if the laptop they're typing on is just a petri dish of malware? That digital backpack gets incredibly messy when our work and personal lives blur together at home.
It gets so messy, which is why business-owned laptops are heavily preferred over personal devices.
Because IT has control.
Right. When the business owns the hardware, IT can enforce strict, standardized rules across the board. We are talking about crucial tech controls at the hardware level. For instance, full disk encryption using tools like BitLocker.
Let's break that down, actually, because people hear the word encryption and their eyes just glaze over.
It really do.
Basically, BitLocker scrambles all the data on the hard drive into gibberish, right?
Yes, exactly.
So if a laptop is left in a taxi or stolen from a coffee shop, the thief might try to pull the hard drive out and plug it into another computer to read the files.
Which is a common tactic.
But because they don't have the laptop's specific internal security chip, the TPM, I think it's called, the data remains completely locked down and useless.
That's the exact mechanism. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
You also have controls like locking the firewall configuration so users can't accidentally disable it while, trying to install a printer.
Oh, I've definitely tried to do that.
We all have. And setting strict inactivity timeouts. I know having to unlock your screen after making a cup of coffee feels annoying, but it closes the gap on an unattended screen in a shared living space.
And we can't forget about patch management. According to the UK standards, like Cyber Essentials, important security updates must be applied within 14 days.
That is a critical window.
Right, because I know people hate when their computer forces an update, and sometimes they can temporarily break a workflow. But if you ignore them for more than 2 weeks, you are actively inviting trouble.
You're leaving known vulnerabilities wide open because, think about it, when a software vendor releases a patch, they are publicly announcing how to fix a flaw.
Like broadcasting it.
Exactly. Hackers read those announcements too, and they immediately program their automated scanners to look for systems that haven't applied the fix yet.
It's a race against the clock.
It literally is.
But beyond the software, we have to talk about the human hardware risks. When your office is your living room, your coworkers are sometimes your kids.
Oh, absolutely.
And keeping family members away from work devices isn't just about preventing your toddler from sending a gibberish email to your boss.
No, it's a massive security protocol. They might click a malicious ad on a gaming site or download something sketchy.
Exactly.
The physical environment matters just as much as the digital one. Like, investing in simple sliding webcam covers is a perfect example.
I have one of those.
They're great. It sounds paranoid, but if an attacker hijacks your camera through a background malware process, they aren't just looking at you.
What else are they looking at?
They are recording sensitive documents sitting on your desk or watching your fingers to see you type in passwords.
Wow, I didn't even think of that. Okay, let's talk about how companies actually manage all these remote devices, because there are two distinct paths here, right? MDM and AM.
Yes. So mobile device management, or MDM, is for corporate assets. The company has full administrative control over the entire device.
Okay.
They can push software updates, track its location, and completely wipe the entire operating system remotely if the device is reported lost.
That makes sense for a work laptop. But if I'm using my personal smartphone to check my work email, I absolutely do not want my company having a button that can delete all the photos of my family just because I lost my phone.
Nobody wants that. And that's exactly why MAM, Mobile Application Management, was designed. It's specifically for bring your own device scenarios.
I always think of MAM like having a specialized, completely secure company vault built inside your personal home.
Oh, that's a good way to put it.
The company has the master key to that specific vault,
Yeah.
and they can empty everything inside it if they need to, but they don't have the key to your front door. They can't touch your personal photos, your personal text, or your personal apps.
Exactly. It creates an encrypted container at the operating system level just for work apps, like Teams or Outlook. The business data stays completely isolated from the rest of your phone.
That's such a smart solution.
It really is. Because if you leave the company, IT just sends a signal to wipe the container, and your personal data remains completely untouched.
All right, so we've secured the Nomad with MFA, and we've secured the backpack with encryption and device management.
Yes.
Now we have to look at the roads we travel. How do we secure the actual connection between the remote worker and the company data?
This is a huge shift right now.
Because for the last decade, every IT department has drilled the exact same mantra into our heads. Always turn on your VPN.
Yes, they did.
But looking at the current architecture, VPNs are suddenly the villain. Are they officially dead?
Well, not dead, but their role is shrinking dramatically because the architecture is fundamentally flawed for modern cloud environments. So a standard virtual private network connects a user to the entire corporate network. Think of it like giving someone a master key to the front door of an office building.
Okay.
Once they are inside the lobby, they can walk down any hallway and rattle any doorknob they want.
Which creates a massive risk for lateral movement. I mean, if a remote worker's home laptop gets hacked and that laptop is connected to the corporate VPN,
Yep.
the attacker doesn't just have a laptop. They have a paved highway straight into the company's internal subnet.
Exactly. Plus, funneling all of your remote workers' internet traffic through a central corporate VPN choke point just to access cloud apps like Salesforce or Microsoft 365, it creates terrible bottlenecks.
And latency.
Huge latency. It's highly inefficient.
So what replaces that master key approach?
The modern alternative is ZTNA, or Zero Trust Network Access.
Zero trust.
Yeah. Instead of giving you the key to the whole building, ZTNA uses microsegmentation. It gives you access only to the specific application you need to do your job in that exact moment. Nothing else is exposed.
So if VPNs give you the master key to the building, ZTNA is like having a security guard standing over your shoulder, checking your ID every single time you want to open a specific drawer or look at a specific file in real time.
That is the essence of Zero Trust. Furthermore, ZTNA keeps the underlying network completely hidden from the public internet.
Oh, really?
Yeah, hackers can't scan for an open port if the port is entirely invisible. And because traffic routes directly from the user to the cloud application, it actually improves speed.
So VPNs really are being phased out for the general staff.
Pretty much. Most organizations are now reserving traditional VPNs exclusively for network admins who genuinely require broad infrastructure access.
That makes total sense. But a lot of this secure routing still rides on our own wildly insecure home Wi-Fi networks.
It does.
What should you, as a listener, be doing right now to harden the network in your house?
The basics are incredibly important here. You must upgrade your router's encryption protocol to WPA3 if your hardware supports it, or at the very least, WPA2 AES.
Okay, and that does what?
This is the mathematical scrambling that prevents your neighbors or someone parked on your street from intercepting your Wi-Fi signals.
Got it. And you absolutely have to change the default administrator password that came printed on the sticker on the back of your router, right?
Oh, yes. Hackers and botnets have dictionaries of all the default admin passwords for every major router brand.
Really?
Yeah. If you don't change it, they can log into your router's brain and completely redirect your web traffic.
Wow. And the research also points out a feature I think most people ignore, MAC address filtering.
Oh, it's an excellent, deeply technical layer of defense.
Break that down for us.
So think of a MAC address as a permanent, unique digital fingerprint burnt into the physical network card of your device.
Okay.
You can configure your home router to use ABSE address filtering, which basically creates a strict VIP list.
A VIP list for your Wi-Fi.
Exactly. You tell the router to only allow devices with those specific approved fingerprints to connect, keeping any unknown devices completely locked out, even if they somehow guess your Wi-Fi password.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
But there's another strategy mentioned in the data that I think is incredibly practical, and that is using your router's guest network specifically for work.
It's so effective. Smart home devices like internet-connected speakers, smart light bulbs, or cheap security cameras.
Like the teddy bear from earlier.
Yes, exactly. They are notoriously easy to hack because they rarely receive security updates.
Right.
So by putting your work laptop on a completely separate guest network, you isolate it. It's essentially a basic form of network segregation.
Okay.
If an attacker compromises your smart fridge, they can't bridge over to your corporate laptop because the router physically prevents those two network layers from talking to each other.
You're just building a little moat inside your own house.
Exactly.
Love that. But what does this all mean when things actually go wrong? Because, even with conditional access, encrypted hard drives, and zero trust networks, humans are still the weakest link.
They always will be.
We've got to talk about human error, shadow IT, and what happens in the first hour of a disaster.
The human element is always the wild card. One of the biggest persistent issues is shadow IT.
Shadow IT, what is that exactly?
It happens when well-meaning employees get frustrated with clunky corporate software and just start using unapproved consumer-grade tools to get their work done faster.
Like sending sensitive client files over a personal file sharing site.
Right, or using an unsanctioned AI tool to summarize confidential notes.
And IT departments try to combat this using things like CASB and DLP policies, right?
Correct. CASB stands for Cloud Access Security Brokers, and DLP is Data Loss Prevention.
Okay, so how does DLP work in practice?
Think of DLP as a digital bouncer that constantly scans outgoing traffic.
Okay.
If an employee tries to email an Excel sheet that contains patterns looking like credit card numbers or social security numbers, the The DLP system flags it and automatically blocks the email from leaving the network.
Wow, just intercepts it. Which is why relying on centralized monitored storage like Microsoft 365, backed up by third-party services, is so vital.
Absolutely.
You can't just save things to your local desktop anymore. Because if your hard drive fails or gets encrypted by ransomware, that data is gone forever. Centralized storage means version control and automated backups.
But going back to human error, the threats are adapting to our training. We talked earlier about AI phishing and deepfakes.
Yeah, the voice cloning.
Right. It raises a massive question. If an AI can make a phone call or write an email that is literally indistinguishable from your real colleague, does standard security training even work anymore?
Yeah, how do you train someone to spot the unspottable? That feels like the defining question of modern cybersecurity.
And the answer is a total paradigm shift. You stop trusting your intuition and you start trusting a hardened process.
A hardened process?
Yeah, you can't train people to hear the microscopic audio glitches in an AI voice anymore.
No, it's getting too good.
Instead, you train staff that any unusual request for sensitive data, password resets, or money must be double-checked through a completely secondary offline channel.
So if my boss emails me asking for an urgent wire transfer, I don't reply to the email.
Whatever.
I call them on their cell phone.
Yes.
And if they call me asking for a password, I hang up and message them on an internal secure chat platform.
Exactly. You break the chain of the attack by intentionally changing the communication medium.
That makes a lot of sense.
We also have to train staff on new physical vectors like quishing QR code phishing.
Quishing, that's a new one.
Yeah, people will scan a random QR code on a parking meter or in a physical piece of mail without a second thought.
Oh, I've done that.
We all have. But the mechanism of a QR code hides the malicious URL from human eyes. And the moment you scan it, it directs your phone to a credential harvesting site or triggers a malware download.
Yikes. But let's say the absolute worst happens. Despite all this training, an employee scans the code. They click the link.
It happens.
The ransomware triggers. The
Russ.
screen goes red and a skull pops up demanding Bitcoin. If that happened to me, my gut reaction would be to instantly yank the power cord out of the wall to stop the bleeding. Is that the right move?
It is the most common instinct, and it is the absolute worst thing you can do.
Really?
Yes, do not power off the compromised device.
But why? Wouldn't killing the power stop the encryption process?
It might, but powering off the machine destroys the temporary memory, the RAM.
Okay.
That temporary RAM holds volatile data, which often includes the exact decryption keys the ransomware is using at that very second, or even the active IP address of the hacker.
Oh, wow.
If you pull the plug, that memory evaporates into thin air instantly, and you lose your absolute best chance of reversing the damage or tracking the attacker.
So you basically destroy the digital footprints the forensic investigators desperately need.
Exactly.
If we can't pull the plug, what do we do in that critical first hour?
Instead of powering down, you must sever the connectivity. Unplug the physical Ethernet cable, switch off the Wi-Fi, turn on airplane mode.
Okay, pull it off the network.
Entirely, so the infection can't spread to other computers.
Isolate the patient, don't kill the patient.
Perfect way to put it. From there, IT can use endpoint detection and response tools, or EDR.
What does EDR do?
It acts like a digital quarantine.
Hmm.
It cuts off the laptop's ability to talk to the rest of the company network, but keeps one secure, invisible wire open just for the IT team to investigate and contain the threat remotely.
That's incredibly smart. And when you report the breach to your IT department, the material we reviewed is very clear. You must do it offline.
Yes.
Do not use your company email or Slack to tell IT you've been hacked, because the attacker is likely already monitoring your outbox.
They absolutely are, and now they know you're on to them. They will accelerate their attack.
Which means you need a physical paper copy of your incident response plan?
Yes. If the internet is down or your screens are locked, a PDF sitting on your desktop isn't going to help you know who to call.
Good point.
And there's a massive ticking clock on this response, particularly from a compliance standpoint.
Right, regulations like UK GDPR.
Organizations are legally required to report any serious data breach to the Information Commissioner's office within 72 hours.
72 hours.
Yeah. The clock starts ticking the moment you become aware of the breach. Mishandling that first hour doesn't just cost you your data, it can result in devastating regulatory fines.
Unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
So, as we wrap up today's conversation, let's pull all this together. The holistic approach to remote security is fundamentally no longer about sitting safely behind a giant corporate firewall.
No, the moat is dry.
The stone walls are gone. Modern security is about protecting the data itself,
Hmm.
ensuring the health of the specific device accessing it, and demanding absolute continuous verification of the identity behind the keyboard.
And for you listening, your home habits are now the actual front lines of defense.
They really are.
Changing your default router passwords, using multi-factor authentication everywhere, keeping your work laptop on a segregated guest network, and storing data centrally. These aren't just polite IT suggestions anymore. They are the fundamental building blocks of modern business security.
It really is a brave new world. I want to leave you with a final thought to mull over. We talked about how AI voice cloning and deepfakes are becoming nearly flawless.
It's spooky.
It is. If a phone call from your boss can be perfectly simulated by an algorithm, how long will it be until we all have to rely on physical passwords or secret family passphrases just to trust a phone call from our own colleagues or even our spouses?
Honestly, it might be sooner than we think.
Something to think about the next time your phone rings. Well, thank you so much for joining the conversation today and for navigating this complex landscape with us. Stay safe out there, update those passwords, and we'll see you next time.